Ho stood in the war room deep under the mountains of Colorado. Maps of the solar system covered every wall. Red dots showed the positions of alien ships while blue dots marked human forces. The red dots outnumbered the blue ones by more than 10 to 1. "We cannot win this fight using normal tactics," Ho said to his staff. "The aliens have better weapons, stronger shields, and more ships." "But they have one weakness." "What is that, sir?" asked Colonel Park. "They think they know how wars are supposed to work. They expect us to follow the same rules that every other species uses. But humans do not follow rules when survival is at stake." Ho pointed to the largest group of red dots. "The Machine Confluence fleet is made up entirely of robot ships controlled by artificial intelligence. AI thinks logically. It tries to predict what enemies will do based on past behavior. And the other fleets? The Shadowkin use fear as a weapon. They expect their enemies to panic and make mistakes. The Void Hunters are telepaths. They read minds to predict enemy moves. All three fleets are used to fighting predictable enemies." Ho smiled grimly. "They have never fought humans before." In the asteroid belt, Ji-Wan prepared for the most dangerous mission of her life. She had been a space miner for 15 years before the war started. Now she commanded a fleet of converted mining ships. Her vessels looked nothing like military ships. They were ugly, practical machines designed to crack open asteroids and haul raw materials. But Ji-Wan had a plan that would use their design to her advantage. "Listen carefully," she told her crews over the radio. "We are going to do something that has never been tried before. We are going to use Jupiter itself as a weapon." The mining ships spread out in a long line. They moved slowly toward Jupiter's gravity well, just as they would when approaching an asteroid. The Machine Confluence fleet detected them immediately. To the alien AI, these ships looked like civilian vessels trying to escape the battle zone. The AI calculated that they posed no threat and ignored them. This was exactly what Ji-Wan wanted. "Begin acceleration burn," she ordered. The mining ships fired their engines and dove toward Jupiter. As they fell into the giant planet's gravity field, they picked up speed. Faster and faster they went until they were moving at incredible velocity. At the last possible moment, Ji-Wan gave the final order. "Pull up and target the robot fleet." The mining ships swung around Jupiter like rocks from a slingshot. They were now moving so fast that nothing could stop them. The Machine Confluence ships tried to shoot them down, but they were going too fast to hit. Ji-Wan's ship slammed into the side of a robot dreadnought. The impact destroyed both vessels instantly, but the alien ship was much more expensive to replace. Across the battlefield, 19 other mining ships struck their targets. The Machine Confluence lost 20 major warships in less than 5 minutes. The AI controlling the robot fleet was confused. It had never seen a tactic like this before. In its calculations, suicide attacks only made sense when the attacking force was desperate and had no other options. But the humans had other ships they could use. Why sacrifice these vessels? The AI did not understand that humans sometimes chose to die if it meant protecting others. On Earth's orbital defense platform, Hye-Jin watched the battle unfold. She commanded the planet's ring of weapon stations that floated in high orbit. Her job was to protect Earth from direct attack, but the Machine Confluence fleet was too large for conventional weapons to stop. She needed to find a weakness in their robot ships. "Run a deep scan on the lead robot vessel," she ordered her technicians. "Scanning now, ma'am," came the reply. "I am detecting massive computer systems running throughout the ship." Hye-Jin thought about this. If the ships were controlled by AI, then they would process every piece of information they received. They would try to understand everything they saw. What if we gave them something they could not understand? She wondered aloud. "Ma'am, paint all our platforms bright pink." "Right now." Her crew stared at her. "Pink, ma'am?" "Bright pink. And start broadcasting classical music on all frequencies." "I do not understand." "You do not need to understand. The enemy AI does not need to understand either. That is the point." Within an hour, Earth's defense platforms had been painted in the most ridiculous color possible. They broadcasted human music while moving in patterns that made no tactical sense. The Machine Confluence AI tried to analyze this behavior. Why would the humans paint their weapons pink? What strategic advantage did music provide? Why were they moving in seemingly random patterns? The AI devoted more and more processing power to understanding human behavior. It created thousands of theories and tested each one. Nothing made sense. Slowly, the robot ships began to move more slowly as their computers worked harder to solve the puzzle of human tactics. This was exactly what Hye-Jin wanted. Fire all weapons, she ordered. The pink defense platforms opened fire on the confused robot ships. Many of the alien vessels were destroyed before their AI could respond effectively. Meanwhile, the Void Hunters were having their own problems. They were used to winning battles through fear and intimidation. Their telepathic abilities let them project terrifying images directly into enemy minds, but Kyung-soo and his Space Marines were ready for them. All right. Marines, Kyung-soo announced over the squad radio. The aliens are going to try to scare us. They will put horrible images in our heads. Do not let them. How do we stop telepathic attacks, sir? Asked Sergeant Kim. We fill our minds with something else. Something loud. Kyung-soo activated his neural implant and began playing heavy metal music at maximum volume directly into his brain. His Marines did the same. When the Void Hunter ships approached and tried to project fear, they encountered something they had never experienced before. Human minds completely filled with loud, aggressive music. The telepathic assault failed completely. Instead of fear, the aliens encountered songs about rebellion, fighting, and never giving up. What is this noise? Asked the Void Hunter commander. It appears to be some form of auditory art, replied his second-in-command. Turn it off. We cannot. The humans are generating it themselves. Kyung-soo and his Marines boarded the alien ships while their enemies were still trying to understand what heavy metal music was. In another part of the solar system, Dayun worked frantically in her laboratory. She was a quantum physicist who had been assigned to find weaknesses in alien technology. She had discovered something important. All 3 alien fleets used similar communication systems. They all relied on faster-than-light signals to coordinate their ships. If I can hack into their communications, she thought, I can cause confusion. Dayun wrote a computer virus designed specifically for alien navigation systems. It was simple but effective. The virus would make each ship's computer think that nearby vessels belonged to a different fleet. She uploaded the virus to a captured alien communication device and broadcast it toward all 3 fleets. The effect was immediate and chaotic. Shadowkin. Ships began identifying machine confluence vessels as threats. Robot ships targeted Void Hunter ships as unknown hostiles. Void Hunter vessels prepared to attack anything that was not clearly marked as friendly. Within minutes, the 3 alien fleets were shooting at each other instead of at Earth. Sir, reported an officer to Wonho, the alien fleets are engaging each other. They appear to think we have allied with their enemies. Wonho smiled. Perfect. While they fight each other, we will pick off the stragglers. Order all human ships to attack any alien vessel that tries to leave the battle. The 3 most powerful war fleets in the galaxy were now locked in a massive, 3-way battle above Earth. Each fleet thought the humans had somehow convinced the other 2 fleets to switch sides. None of them realized that humans were simply better at fighting, dirty than anyone else in the galaxy. As explosions lit up the darkness of space, Wonho began planning humanity's next move. The aliens had made a mistake by attacking Earth. Now they were going to learn what happened when you picked a fight with a species that refused to fight fair. Captain Dongwu stood on the bridge of his ship, the Resilience. Through the large window he could see Jupiter's great red spot spinning slowly. His crew was busy checking their instruments and preparing for what they thought would be a routine patrol. Captain, called out his communications officer, we are getting strange readings from the outer sensors. Something big is coming toward us. Dongwu moved to look at the screens. What he saw made his blood run cold. Dozens of massive black ships were appearing out of nowhere. They were shaped like giant spears and covered in sharp points. Red lights blinked along their sides. All crew to battle stations, Dongwu ordered calmly. Send a message to Earth Command immediately. The alien ships moved into a formation around Jupiter. They were much larger than any human vessel. Each one looked like it could destroy a city by itself. A voice suddenly filled the bridge. It sounded like broken glass mixed with cold wind. Primitive creatures of the 3rd planet.
I am Admiral Crickstall of the Shadowkin Imperium.
You will surrender your world immediately. Dongwu looked at his crew. They were afraid, but they were ready to fight. He activated the communication system. This is Captain Dongwu of the Earth vessel Resilience. We do not surrender. We adapt. There was silence for a moment. Then the alien voice spoke again, sounding surprised. You refuse? Do you not understand? We have weapons that can destroy your entire planet. Your technology is like toys compared to ours. Maybe, Dongwu replied. But toys can still hurt you if you're not careful. On Earth, Minho sat in the underground command center. Screens all around him showed the alien fleet near Jupiter. He had been preparing for this day for years, ever since humans first detected signs of alien life. Sir, one of his officers reported, the alien fleet has 57 vessels. Each one is at least 5 times larger than our biggest ship. Minho nodded. What about their weapons? Unknown, but energy readings suggest they are very powerful. And our defenses? All orbital platforms are armed and ready. The lunar bases are prepared for battle. Every human ship within 10 hours travel time is moving to Earth. Minho studied the tactical display. The humans had about 300 ships total, but most were small. They also had nuclear weapons, but the aliens probably had shields that could stop them. Sir, another officer called out, the alien admiral is broadcasting to the entire planet. The voice of Krikstal filled the command center. People of Earth, your military has foolishly refused our offer of mercy. We will now demonstrate why resistance is pointless. On the screens, 3 alien ships moved toward the asteroid belt between Mars and Jupiter. Human mining stations floated among the rocks, extracting metals and ice. No, Minho whispered. The alien ships fired beams of purple energy. The mining stations exploded instantly. Hundreds of human workers died in moments, you see, Krikstal announced. Your people are like insects to us. Surrender now or we will destroy your cities one by one. But instead of fear, Minho felt something else. Anger. The aliens had just made their first mistake. They thought destroying civilian targets would scare humans. They were wrong. All units, Minho spoke into his microphone. This is Earth Command. The aliens have killed our people. Show them what happens when they threaten humanity. Near Jupiter, Dongwu received new orders. He was to attack the alien fleet using a new tactic that Minho had developed. It was based on studying old human wars. Yunji, Dongwu called to his chief engineer. Are our nuclear missiles ready? Yunji looked up from her console. She was young but very smart. Ready, Captain. But their shields will probably stop them. Not if we use them the right way. Launch all missiles but do not aim at their ships. Sir, aim at the empty space around them. Set the missiles to explode in a pattern. Yunji understood immediately. You want to create a nuclear cloud? The radiation will interfere with their shields. Exactly. And while their shields are down, we hit them with everything else. The Resilience fired 20 nuclear missiles. They spread out and exploded in a huge sphere around the alien fleet. The space filled with radiation and electromagnetic energy. Shields are fluctuating, reported the weapons officer on Krikstal's ship. Impossible, the alien admiral said. Their primitive weapons cannot affect our technology. But the human missiles were not trying to penetrate the shields. They were designed to confuse them. And it worked. Now, Dongwu ordered. Every human ship in the area opened fire at once. Lasers, missiles, and railguns all targeted the same alien vessel. With its shields confused by the radiation, the attacks went through. The alien ship exploded in a ball of fire. Krikstal stared at his screens in shock. How is this possible? They used nuclear weapons as a distraction. On another human ship, Yunji was having her own problems. Her vessel had been damaged by alien return fire. The life support systems were failing, and her crew was running out of air. But Yunji was an engineer. She looked at problems differently than other people. Captain, she said to her commanding officer, I have an idea. It is dangerous, but it might work. What do you need? Permission to modify our air recycling system. To do what? To make it explode. Yunji worked quickly. She rerouted the life support system so that it would release all the ship's atmosphere at once. But instead of just venting air, she mixed it with fuel and ignited it. Her ship flew directly at an alien destroyer. At the last moment, she triggered her improvised weapon. The explosion was enormous. The alien ship was caught completely off guard. Its shields were designed to stop energy weapons and missiles, not a ship that had turned itself into a giant bomb. The destroyer was destroyed. Back on Earth, Su-Bin monitored communications from across the solar system. She was starting to see a pattern in the alien fleet movements. Sir, she reported to Minho, I am detecting 2 more alien fleets approaching Earth. They are coming from different directions. Minho frowned. More Shadowkin ships? No, sir. These appear to be different species entirely. The energy signatures do not match. How many ships total? At least 200 alien vessels, possibly more. Minho realized what was happening. 3 different alien empires were attacking Earth at the same time, but they were not working together. Subin, are the 3 fleets communicating with each other? No, sir. In fact, they seem to be avoiding each other. A terrible thought occurred to Minho. The aliens were not trying to conquer Earth together. They were competing with each other to see who could destroy humanity first. This changes everything, he said quietly. Sir, if they are not working together, then they might not be prepared to fight each other. Send new orders to all our ships. We are going to use their competition against them. As the 3 alien fleets moved closer to Earth, none of them knew that the humans were already planning to turn their rivalry into a weapon. The aliens thought they were the hunters. They were about to learn that sometimes the prey fights back. The massive space station called Nexus Prime floated in the darkness between stars. Inside its silver walls, the most powerful beings in the galaxy sat around a large table. The Galactic Council was meeting, and something had made them very worried. Hyunwoo walked into the Great Hall. His blue skin marked him as a member of the Krillian Empire. He carried a datapad in his 6-fingered hands. The other council members looked at him with curious eyes. Fellow council members, Hyunwoo said in a calm voice, we have a problem. 3 of our most dangerous enemies are moving their war fleets. They are all heading to the same place, so... Jin leaned forward in her chair. Her people, the Vorthons, had green scales that shimmered under the lights. Where are they going? She asked. Hyunwoo touched his datapad. A hologram appeared above the table. It showed a small blue planet orbiting a yellow star. They are going here. A world called Earth. It sits on the edge of our galaxy. Taemin laughed. His tall, thin body shook with amusement. Earth? That tiny world with the primitive creatures? Why would anyone waste time on such a useless place? The creatures are called humans, Hyunwoo explained. Our reports say they have only just learned to travel between stars. They have simple weapons and old technology. They are listed as a level 2 civilization, Yejin spoke up. Her voice sounded like music, which was normal for her people. I know about humans. They fight among themselves constantly. They use crude weapons that explode. Very primitive indeed. The council members began to talk among themselves. They found the idea funny. Why would 3 powerful star empires attack such a weak world? Jinho stood up from his seat. He was also from the Krillian Empire, but he wore the dark uniform of a military officer. You should not laugh, he said seriously. The Shadowkin Imperium has sent 50 warships. The Void Hunters have gathered their death fleet. The Machine Confluence has awakened their robot armies. These are not small forces, so what? Taemin said with a wave of his hand. Even 100 ships is too much for such a simple world. The humans will surrender in minutes. Nara moved silently to the front of the room. Her people were known for being very good at gathering secrets. She had pale white skin and large black eyes. When she spoke, everyone listened. I have been watching these 3 empires, she said quietly. They are not working together. In fact, they hate each other. But they all chose the same target. Do you know why? The room became quiet. Nara continued. Each empire wants to test their new weapons and tactics. They think Earth is perfect for this. The humans are smart enough to provide a real fight, but weak enough to lose quickly. They want to use this battle as practice before they fight each other. So Jin frowned. Practice? They are using an entire world as a training exercise? Yes, Nara said. The Shadowkin want to test their new mind control weapons. The Void Hunters want to try their fear tactics on a species they have never met. The Machine Confluence wants to see how well their robot soldiers fight against biological enemies. Hyunwoo looked at the hologram of Earth. The humans do not know what is coming. They have no idea that 3 war fleets are heading toward their world. Should we warn them? Yejin asked. The council members looked at each other. Taemin shook his head. Why? This will be over very quickly. The humans will either surrender or be destroyed. Either way, we will learn valuable information about our enemies. Jinho stepped forward. I disagree. I have studied human military history. These creatures are dangerous in ways you do not understand. Dangerous? So Jin laughed. They cannot even travel faster than light without our old technology. What could they possibly do against star empires? They are unpredictable, Jinho said firmly. Every other species in the galaxy follows certain patterns. When facing a stronger enemy, most creatures either fight or run away. Some surrender. Humans do all of these things, but they also do things that make no sense. Like what? Taemin asked. Jinho activated his own datapad. Images of human history appeared in the air. When their cities are surrounded, they sometimes fight to the death. Other times they pretend to surrender and then attack when the enemy gets close. Sometimes they destroy their own cities rather than let enemies take them. Sometimes they run away but then come back with help. You never know what they will do. That just proves they are chaotic and stupid, Ye-Jin said. No, Jinho replied. It proves they are adaptable. They change their behavior based on the situation. This makes them very hard to predict. Nara nodded slowly. Jinho is right. My spies have been studying humans for years. They have something we call crazy bravery. When things look hopeless, they often become more dangerous, not less. Hyunwoo looked around the table. So what do we do? Should we interfere? The council thought about this. Finally, Sojin spoke. Let us watch and learn. We will observe this battle from a safe distance. It will give us information about 3 of our enemies at once. And if the humans win? Jinho asked. Taemin laughed again. Win? Against 3-star empires? That is impossible. The humans have maybe a few hundred small ships. Their enemies have thousands of powerful vessels. This will not be a battle. It will be a demonstration. Besides, Ye-Jin added, even if the humans somehow survive the first attack, they have no way to fight back. They cannot travel to other star systems quickly. They cannot build new ships fast enough. They are trapped on their little world. Nara made some notes on her datapad. I will position spy drones around the Earth system. We will record everything that happens. Good, Hyunwoo said. This meeting is closed. We will watch this practice battle and see what our enemies are truly capable of. As the council members left the Great Hall, Jinho remained behind. He stared at the hologram of Earth for a long time. Something worried him, but he could not explain what it was. In all his years of studying war, he had learned one important lesson. Never underestimate an enemy, no matter how weak they seem. The small blue planet continued to spin slowly in the hologram. Soon it would be surrounded by alien war fleets. Jinho wondered if the council was making a terrible mistake by choosing to simply watch. The Galactic Council's emergency meeting was very different from their last gathering. This time nobody was laughing. Hyunwoo stood before the great table with his hands shaking slightly. The holographic display behind him showed the battle raging around Earth. Explosions filled the space between 3 massive fleets as they fought each other and the small human ships. Council members, Hyunwoo began, his voice tight with worry. I must report something that should be impossible. The humans are not losing. Sojin leaned forward in her chair. Her green scales had turned a darker color, which happened when her people were stressed. What do you mean they are not losing? Look at the numbers. 3-star empires against 1 primitive world. The numbers do not tell the whole story, Hyunwoo replied. He activated the display showing recent battle footage. Watch this. The council members saw human ships that looked like they were held together with metal tape. Some had pieces missing. Others appeared to be mining vessels with weapons bolted onto their sides. These crude ships were somehow defeating alien vessels that cost more than most planets made in a year. This must be fake, Taemin said, but his voice was uncertain. It is not fake. Nara spoke from the shadows at the edge of the room. My spy drones have been recording everything. The humans are using tactics that violate every principle of space warfare. Show us, Ye-Jin demanded. Nara activated her own display. The council watched in stunned silence as human ships painted bright pink destroyed robot vessels by confusing their AI. They saw mining ships use Jupiter's gravity to achieve impossible speeds. They watched human soldiers defeat telepathic aliens by playing loud music in their own heads. This is madness, Sojin whispered. Yes, Jinho said grimly. Human madness. I tried to warn you. Taemin shook his head. But how can such simple tactics work against advanced technology? Because the technology is too advanced, Jinho explained. The alien weapons and shields are designed to fight other advanced weapons. They are not prepared for nuclear bombs used as distractions or ships that turn themselves into missiles. Nara brought up more data. I have been analyzing human behavior patterns for the past 6 hours. I found something disturbing. What? Hyunwoo asked. I cannot find any patterns. Every other species in the galaxy has predictable responses to different situations. Humans appear capable of any response at any time. Ye-Jin tried to understand this. That is impossible. All intelligent life follows certain rules. When faced with superior force, creatures either fight, flee or surrender. There are no other options. Humans do all three, Nara replied. Sometimes at the same time. Sometimes they flee while fighting. Sometimes they surrender while planning an attack. Sometimes they fight when fleeing would be safer. She showed them more footage. Human ships retreating from one battle while launching surprise attacks in another location. Human commanders who surrendered their ships but programmed them to explode when aliens tried to board them. Human civilians who evacuated their space stations but left behind booby traps. They are completely unpredictable, Nara concluded. Taemin attempted to process this information. But if they are unpredictable, how do they coordinate with each other? How do they plan battles? That is the most frightening part, Jinho answered. They do not seem to need detailed plans. They adapt to new situations instantly. When one tactic fails, they immediately try something completely different. So Jin activated her own computer terminal. I want to run simulations of human behavior. If we can understand their thinking patterns, we can predict their actions. She began entering data about human tactics into her advanced prediction software. The computer was designed to analyze any species and determine how they would respond to different situations. After several minutes, the computer made a sound that the council had never heard before. It was an error tone, but different from normal errors. What is wrong with your computer? Hyunwoo asked. Sojin stared at her screen in confusion. It says the analysis is impossible. The computer cannot create a behavioral model for humans because their responses do not follow logical patterns. Try a different approach, Taemin suggested. Sojin tried again, using different analysis methods. Each time her computer failed to understand human behavior. Finally, the system displayed a message that made everyone in the room uncomfortable. Warning: subject species exhibits non-standard intelligence. Prediction algorithms cannot process paradoxical thinking patterns. Non-standard intelligence? Yejin repeated. What does that mean? Before anyone could answer, alarms began sounding throughout the space station. Emergency lights flashed red. Council members, came a voice over the communication system. We are receiving urgent reports from across the galaxy. What kind of reports? Hyunwoo demanded. Human ships have been detected in 17 different star systems. They appear to be moving beyond their home system. The council members looked at each other in shock. That is impossible, Taemin said. Human ships are too slow to travel that far in such a short time. Nara was already analyzing the new data. They are using captured alien technology. They have somehow modified their ships with faster-than-light drives taken from destroyed enemy vessels. In a few hours? Sojin asked. It takes our best engineers months to integrate new technology. Human engineering appears to be different from ours, Nara replied. They do not try to understand how technology works. They just make it work. Jinho understood immediately. They are not trying to improve the alien technology. They are bolting it onto their existing ships like spare parts. New reports continued coming in. Human ships were attacking Shadowkin supply bases. They were rescuing prisoners from Void Hunter slave camps. They were shutting down Machine Confluence mining operations. Why are they spreading across the galaxy? Yejin asked. Why are they not staying home to defend their world? Because that is what we expected them to do, Jinho answered grimly. We expected them to huddle around their planet and wait for death. Instead, they are taking the fight to their enemies. Hyunwoo studied the latest reports. It gets worse. The humans are not just attacking military targets. They are freeing slaves, destroying weapons factories, and liberating occupied worlds. Liberating? Taemin asked. Yes, and the freed peoples are helping them. The humans are gaining allies wherever they go. Sojin felt a cold fear growing in her chest. How many allies? 17 species so far, Nara reported. All of them had been conquered or enslaved by the Shadowkin, Void Hunters, or Machine Confluence. All of them are now fighting alongside human forces. The council sat in stunned silence as they realized what was happening. The humans were not just defending themselves. They were starting a rebellion against 3 of the most powerful empires in the galaxy. Council members, Yejin said quietly. We need to consider something terrible. What if the humans win? Win? Taemin laughed, but it sounded forced. 1 primitive species against 3-star empires? That is still impossible, is it? Jinho asked. Look at what they have accomplished in less than a day. They turned a 3-against-1 battle into a 3-way war. They captured advanced technology and learned to use it immediately. They freed multiple worlds and gained new allies. And, Nara added ominously, they are just getting started. Hyunwoo brought up a new display showing human ship movements across the galaxy. They are not moving randomly. There is a pattern here. They are systematically attacking the supply lines and communication networks of all three empires. They are trying to isolate the enemy fleets, Jinho realized. If the aliens cannot get reinforcements or new orders, they will be trapped. The room fell silent again as the council members understood the implications. Finally, Sojin spoke the words that everyone was thinking but nobody wanted to say. What if we are on the wrong side of this war? The question hung in the air like a toxic cloud. The Galactic Council had always stayed neutral in conflicts between other species. But if humans could defeat three-star empires, what did that mean for the balance of power in the galaxy? And more importantly, what would humans do to species that had chosen to simply watch while their world was attacked? Captain Dongwoo stood on the bridge of his new ship. It was not really one ship, but pieces of 4 different vessels welded together. The front half came from his old human vessel, the Resilience. The middle section was from a captured Shadowkin destroyer. The engines were taken from a Machine Confluence robot ship, and the weapons came from a Void Hunter cruiser. The ship looked terrible, but it worked. Captain, his communications officer called out. We are approaching the Proxima Centauri system. Shadowkin supply base detected ahead. Dongwoo smiled. This would be humanity's first attack beyond their own solar system. The aliens thought humans were trapped around Earth, defending their home world. They were about to learn how wrong they were. All ships, this is Captain Dongwoo. Remember, we are not here to conquer. We are here to send a message. Behind him followed a fleet of 20 human vessels. Each one looked different because they were all built from captured alien parts. Some had human crews. Others were operated by rescued alien slaves who had volunteered to fight against their former masters. Approaching the supply base now, reported the navigation officer. Through the view screen, Dongwoo could see the Shadowkin facility. It was a massive station built into an asteroid. Dozens of alien ships moved around it like insects. Sir, his tactical officer said, the base has heavy defenses. Our chances of success are low. Our chances do not matter, Dongwoo replied. What matters is that we are here. The Shadowkin thought their supply lines were safe. Today they learned that nowhere is safe from human reach. Back on Earth, Minho coordinated the larger human strategy. The battle above Earth was still raging, but the 3 alien fleets were mostly fighting each other now. This gave him time to plan humanity's next moves. Status report, he ordered. Sir, we have confirmed human forces in operation across 12 star systems, came the reply. Captain Dongwoo is attacking Shadowkin supplies at Proxima Centauri. Commander Jiwon is striking Machine Confluence facilities in the Wolf system. Major Kyungsu is liberating Void Hunter prison camps near Vega. Minho nodded with satisfaction. The alien fleets had come to Earth expecting an easy victory. Instead, they were trapped in an expensive battle while humans struck at their home territories. What about our captured technology? Engineering teams have successfully integrated alien faster-than-light drives into 47 human vessels. The drives do not work exactly as designed, but they work well enough. This was typical of human engineering. They did not need to understand alien technology perfectly. They just needed to make it do what they wanted. Sir, another officer reported, we are receiving messages from species across the galaxy. Many of them want to ally with us against the 3 empires. How many? 23 species so far. Most were enslaved or conquered by our enemies. They see this as their chance for freedom. Minho felt a strange emotion. When the alien fleets first attacked Earth, he thought humanity was fighting for survival. Now he realized they were fighting for something much larger. They were fighting for freedom itself. At Proxima Centauri, Dongwoo's attack was going better than expected. The Shadowkin had never imagined that primitive humans could strike so far from their home world. The base defenses were designed to stop other advanced species, not ships that fought like humans. Yunji, Dongwoo called to his chief engineer. What is the status of our special weapons? Yunji looked up from her console with a wide grin. She had spent the last few hours modifying human nuclear missiles with Shadowkin targeting systems and Machine Confluence propulsion units. Ready, Captain. These missiles will be unlike anything the enemy has seen before. Fire. The hybrid missiles streaked toward the Shadowkin base. They moved faster than normal human weapons but slower than advanced alien weapons. The base defense systems tried to intercept them but failed because they were programmed to stop either very fast or very slow missiles, not something in between. The nuclear explosions lit up the darkness around Proxima Centauri. "Base shields are down," reported the tactical officer. "All ships attack," Dongwu ordered. The human fleet swarmed the damaged base. They used captured alien weapons to destroy the station's weapon systems. Then they began something that confused the surviving Shadowkin defenders. Instead of destroying the base completely, the humans were stealing everything valuable and rescuing alien prisoners. "Captain," the Shadowkin base commander transmitted, "what are your terms for surrender?" Dongwu thought about this. In normal space warfare, conquering enemies either enslaved their prisoners or executed them. But humans had different ideas. "Our terms are simple," he replied. "Stop attacking Earth, free all your slaves. Never again try to conquer peaceful worlds. And if we refuse, then we will visit every Shadowkin world in the galaxy and make the same offer to your people directly." There was a long silence. Finally, the Shadowkin commander spoke again. "You would attack our homeworlds?" "We would liberate them," Dongwu corrected. "Just like we are liberating this base." In the Wolf system, G1 was having similar success against machine confluence facilities. The robot ships could not understand why humans would travel so far from Earth just to rescue alien slaves. The AI controlling the facility kept demanding to know what strategic advantage humans gained by freeing prisoners. "There is no strategic advantage," G1 replied honestly. "We do it because it is the right thing to do." The AI spent several minutes trying to process this answer. In its databases, there was no record of any species that fought wars based on moral principles rather than tactical advantage. While the AI was confused, human Marines stormed the facility and freed 300 alien prisoners. Each freed prisoner became a potential ally in the growing fight against the three empires. Near Vega, Kyung-soo and his space Marines had discovered something that made them very angry. The Void Hunter prison camps were not just holding captured soldiers. They were holding civilian families, including children. "Sir," one of his Marines reported, "the prisoners say they have been here for years. Some of the children were born in captivity." Kyung-soo felt his anger turn cold and hard. "Change of plans, Marines. We are not just rescuing these people. We are shutting down every Void Hunter slave operation we can find." "Sir, that could take months." "Then it takes months. No child should grow up in a cage." This was something the aliens could not understand. Most species fought wars for territory, resources, or political power. Humans seemed to fight wars because they did not like injustice. Back on Earth, Dawn was working on her most ambitious project yet. She had been analyzing the communication systems of all three alien empires. She discovered that they all used a central network to coordinate their fleets across the galaxy. "If I can hack into this network," she thought, "I can cause chaos throughout their entire military structure." She had already written virus programs that confused individual ships. Now she was creating something much more powerful. A virus that would make every alien military computer think it was under attack by its own allies. "Sir," she reported to Minho, "I am ready to upload the master virus. But once I do this, there is no going back. It will cause massive confusion throughout 3-star empires." "Do it," Minho ordered without hesitation. Dae-un activated her program. Across the galaxy, alien military networks began receiving false reports. Shadowkin fleets thought they were being attacked by machine confluence forces. Robot ships identified Void Hunter vessels as priority targets. Void Hunter commanders believed their telepathic abilities were being jammed by Shadowkin technology. Within hours, the three empires were fighting each other on dozens of different worlds. "Sir," an officer reported to Minho, "we are receiving surrender offers from 17 different alien commanders. They want to negotiate peace treaties. What should we tell them?" Minho thought about this carefully. Humanity had started this day as the target of 3 hostile empires. Now they were in a position to dictate terms to their enemies. Tell them we will consider peace treaties, but only if they agree to 3 conditions. First, they must free all their slaves and prisoners. Second, they must stop attacking or conquering other species. Third, they must pay compensation to every world they have damaged. And if they refuse? Minho looked at the tactical displays showing human ships across the galaxy. Each group was small, but they were everywhere. The aliens could not predict where humans would strike next because humans themselves did not know. They simply attacked wherever they found injustice. If they refuse, Minho said quietly, then we continue fighting until they change their minds. For the first time in galactic history, three-star empires were being forced to negotiate with a species they had tried to destroy. The hunters had become the hunted and humanity was just getting started.